Esther was on an airplane. She got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. She got into her car. She drove through heavy traffic. Interstate 10 has been under construction. It took an hour and 15 minutes to get to the airport. When she got to the airport, it was raining. She did not have an umbrella. She still got on that airplane and found satisfaction. You see what we're talking about? She's not demanding that every moment of her life be perfect in every way. She's just looking for as much satisfaction as she can find. The man at the baggage claim walked her in with a box over her head. People are just looking for ways to make her life better everywhere she goes. But her life is not always perfect. There are things that she would like to be different. She really doesn't like to set her alarm for 3 o'clock in the morning, to leave the house for 4 o'clock in the morning, to catch a flight that's at 6 o'clock in the morning. In other words, there are many other things that she might like to do. But you know what? The satisfaction of this makes all of that not matter. This satisfaction is so great, you see. And so she doesn't lie in bed and think, oh, it's probably going to be raining or the traffic's probably going to be blocked up. She just accommodates to make herself as comfortable as she can be. She gets to the airport early enough that she knows that she won't have to scramble. She looks for reasons to be satisfied and finds them 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 and finds them. When there are plenty of reasons, maybe even more that she could pinpoint that would not be satisfying, but not satisfaction doesn't lead her to alignment. And not being in alignment doesn't lead her to this kind of satisfaction. You see what we're getting at? People watch Esther and they think, well, of course you're satisfied. You're wealthy. Esther is wealthy. Of course you're satisfied. You're wealthy. Of course you can fly first class. And if Esther really wanted to go toe-to-toe with you in your dissatisfied analogy, she would say, I still had to get up and make the flight. I still had to find a way to get to the airport. I'm just not magically appearing at the airport yet. I haven't been that satisfied. But who cares where you are if you're satisfied while you're going? Who cares what you're doing or who you're doing it with if you've mastered the art of satisfaction? Wouldn't you love to not need to make demands of the world that it will never make to you? Wouldn't you just like to be satisfied without needing your government or anybody to be different than it is in order for you to feel well-being? Aren't you looking for that? Don't you want to love your kids while they're finding their way? Don't you want to feel satisfied even though they won't do what you think they need to do in order for them to live the productive life that you've chosen for them? Satisfaction is every single thing you want, no matter what it is. A material object, a pile of money, a relationship, everything that you want is because you believe you will feel better in the having of it. And we are here to say to you, you've got to find a way to feel better in the not having of it before it can come. You've got to find a way to feel satisfied. Otherwise, the big stuff will never come to you. It will just be the mediocre stuff that other people who are playing the game of mediocrity are getting. It'll just be who's the biggest, who's the meanest, who can shove the hardest, who can push the most, who can drag the biggest pile over to their place. And we promise you, not one of them stands with any real satisfaction. They've just got the bigger pile. But when you get your feet out of the action world and you get your feet into the leveraged world of alignment, when you start acting in accordance to the way your emotions are guiding you, when you start leaning in the direction of your inner being who is always satisfied, when you find mutuality with your inner being who is satisfied, and you feel that thrill of satisfaction pouring through you, even if there's not yet any evidence of it, and you can just feel the universe at your back, in your court, assisting you, feeding thoughts to you, giving you ideas of timing. That feeling of satisfaction will grow just from mild satisfaction to the ecstasy of being the creator of your own reality, of being in control of your own destiny, of being the uplifter that you were born to be, of feeling no shortage of any kind because you're not shortage consciousness oriented anymore. Leave that for the humans that are wobbling over the spoils, and you line up with the energy that creates worlds and feel the fullness of who you are. And then in time, we'll have another conversation a year from now. In time, you'll say,
how much time?
You'll say, it was never about the money. It was always about the way I feel. But now I've got so much money, I don't know what to do with it. It was never about the money, but boy, is the money everywhere around me. It was always about the satisfaction. And I learned to find it. I learned to find it anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Give yourself an appetite for some satisfaction and ask yourself, especially in the next 2 or 3 days, or when you find yourself in a moment that feels extra good, analyze a little bit. Why do you feel so good right now?
You know, and I want to say, Abraham, is that I've obviously been doing your work for a while. Well, a couple things about it. Number one, on the positive side is I've been able to, catch my thoughts and not go there, when it's downhill, and be happy no matter what. I mean, there's a lot of circumstances in my life, and I'm able to create a lot of satisfaction and joy, and through your work of deliberate intent, shifting my focus and bringing my vibration up. And I'm more acutely aware of the thoughts, and as I mentioned, when I'm starting to go negative and stopping it and turning it away, because as you say, it's just thinking. I'm not going to solve it through thinking. Yeah, sure, of course, there's problems that you do need to solve through action, of course, but in general, the picking at it and the mind going around and around, it doesn't work.
You have just delivered the most important message, not only of this seminar, but of every seminar. It came right through you in better words than we were offering here before it. We want to emphasize it. It is so perfect and wonderful what you just said. What you just said, it's so important, and we want to stay right here until everyone in the room can feel it. What you just acknowledged is that, of course, there's plenty action to be had, and there is satisfaction in a lot of action, but without the satisfaction factor, you're really just spinning your wheels. Until you accept that this is an energetic world, until you accept that this is a vibrational world, until you accept your partnership with your source energy, then you will live lives of mediocrity, comparing yourself against the others who are living lives of mediocrity. But when you acknowledge that this is a world of energy, it's a universe of energy, it's a world of vibration, and that your emotions are your indicator of how you fit with the vibration of your greater being. Your dominant intention is to find that resonance, and therefore that power, and therefore that clarity, and therefore that satisfaction. Then that's when the bigness of your life begins to happen. And it's the witnessing of the world's compliance with your alignment. We've said this to you in lots of different ways. We said, you create your own reality. And you said, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And we said, and you get what you think about whether you want it or not. And you went along with us on that. And then we said, step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1 is you ask. Life just causes you to do that. And step 2 is we answer. And that's our job. And step 3 is you've got to get into the receptive mode. You've got to get into the receiving mode. You've got to practice the art of allowing. And you said, yes, 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 yes. But you weren't quite really getting, because you still were thinking like an action-oriented person who was still comparing yourself to the other physical beings in the world. And most of what you wanted to talk to us about was how to get more money and have better relationships and those things that are important, and we want all of them for you. But it wasn't so much about the way you would feel when you got there as the fact of wanting to get there for the comparative reasons. And so we began bringing you along by helping you to realize that you have an inner being, that you were source energy before you came, and that while you're here in this body, that source energy part of you still exists. And that source energy part of you is still offering a vibration, and law of attraction is still responding to that vibration. So when your life causes you, because you don't have enough money, to ask for more money, your inner being stands asking for more money on your behalf. Your inner being and you are one and the same. And when you've asked, your inner being becomes a very powerful attractor of more money. A powerful attractor of more money for you. Cooperative components get all lined up. But unless you find the satisfaction, which is the evidence that you are standing in the same place as your inner being, then even though the cooperative components are being gathered and drawn to your inner being, unless you're standing where your inner being stands, the ideas don't occur to you, you don't have good timing, you're not in the right place at the right time, and you don't manifest what you want in the physical way that you want it, even though you have vibrationally manifested it. You with us? So then we said, you got to get in that vortex where your inner being is. You've got to get in there where all the stuff, you've got to be one of those cooperative components. And you said, yeah, how do I get in? Where's the door? And then you began feeling dissatisfaction because it was so weird. You couldn't figure out how to get in. You understood it conceptually. It sort of made sense to you. It's maybe a fairy tale that Abraham's telling, and maybe if you could get there, maybe more money would flow. And then we began saying to you, there is a vibrational frequency which equals who you really are and all that you've gathered. And there you are rich beyond your ability to comprehend with your physical brain. There you have gathered more means to accomplish more things in terms of intellect, in terms of all things that matter to you, and in terms of financial remuneration. In other words, you have attracted prosperity in ways that we can't even yet define it. Your world has not yet yielded it to you. It will in time. In time, the economy of this world will be big enough to be an accurate representation of what's in your vortex, but it's going to take more of you letting it in than are letting it in right now. So here is this huge amount of well-being and prosperity and thriving and wellness that you in your disconnected states have launched the rockets for. And your inner beings have heard you and have believed in the rightness of your request and have loved it into being, and it stands as a vibrational reality which will one day be a physical reality for those who will allow it in. So then we say to you, all right, you got this vortex, you're accepting that it's there, this very high vibration. You've got to find some way of letting your vibration rise to that equivalency. Otherwise, you're not going to go in the vortex, or a better way of saying it is, you're not going to receive what's in it. You're not going to let what's in it come out where you can witness it. But when, with such little effort, it takes so little to find some reason to be satisfied. When you find satisfaction, and therefore you're in vibrational equivalency with your inner being, so that there's no resistance, so that it's just this smooth flow, then you are now allowing those vibrations to turn to thoughts, and those thoughts to turn to things. And you get to witness it as the worthy feeling, blessed being that you are. You get to see what you've created come out in real form where others can see it. And when they see it, their recognition of it, their acknowledgement of your success or your achievement will mean nothing to you in comparison with the satisfaction that you felt as it came along. Are you following us? It's not about what they think, but they'll be thinking plenty. And it's not about how they compare to you, but there'll be a really strong comparison. It's about you giving birth to it and you holding yourself apart from it and you knowing you held yourself apart from it because you know what dissatisfaction means. And then you deliberately, at the right time, finding satisfaction and practicing satisfaction and understanding satisfaction and knowing it and holding it and owning it and being it mostly until you're so steadily in vibrational alignment with who you are that now there is very few times and very not often, very little time that you spend vibrationally apart from your inner being, because your quest for satisfaction has made you in alignment with your inner being almost all the time, which means you don't miss opportunities to say things to others. You don't miss opportunities to see the sunset happening upside down. You don't miss opportunities to hear the birds sing that almost nobody else is hearing. You don't miss the opportunities for the thought to come into your mind at just the right moment. You don't miss those satisfying moments of your enlightenment and your engagement and your harmonic cooperation with others on the planet. You don't miss the beauty in the others who are surrounding you. You don't miss anything because you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You're the whole being that you were born to be. And it all happened because you just wanted to be satisfied and found a way to be it consistently enough that now you are in your power. And now when you see others in their power, you have a great time with them. When you see others not in their power, you know they still could be. You find yourself not wanting to fix things for others because you know in their dissatisfaction, you're not going to be able to be heard by them. Others who are dissatisfied won't hear you unless you complain. And when you complain, you take yourself away from your power. So you can't be like them and help them. You got to be different than they are to help them. You got to be happy anyway to help them. You've got to feel satisfied to help them. You have to thrive in the vibrational world, and then the financial world will just wrap all around you in all kinds of different ways. It's so delicious to feel your power. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.